What is going on, guys? It is Trifecta J here, and I'm back with episode 4 of my Angels franchise, and we'll be starting off with the Major League Baseball draft, trying to get some new prospects for our farm system. The Phillies picked a left fielder first overall. Now we're looking at Zimmerman, a closing pitcher, Herbert Keane, an 18-year-old right-hander who is 6'2", looks to be a starting pitcher and looks to be very good. Thomas Cabrera, another guy, he's also 18, a left-hander though. Jason Jones, a left-handed pitcher. Herbert Keane was definitely a guy that I was giving a lot of consideration to, as I thought he could be a very talented guy, a low injury risk, not fully scouted, but I feel like he has a lot of the things you look for. Another guy is Eli Wendell, a 19-year-old second baseman who's a switch hitter. Maybe if his speed develops a little bit and has good contact, could be a leadoff guy for us in the future. But we would end up going with Herbert Keane. We didn't know a whole ton about him, but the 2017 MLB ETA, along with being 18 years old, was definitely great to see. Then with our next pick, Eli Wendell was still there. He was the second guy that I was considering, so we would get him in the second round, which was great to see. Some of the other picks are coming up, and now we pick number 19, Mitch Callaway, a left-handed college pitcher I was looking at. He looks to be very good, along with Harvey Carr, Jason Jones. He's a 6'5" left-hander, and he also looks to be very good out of Canada. This says he's already a 70 overall as an 18-year-old. Not sure how accurate that actually is, but a 75 potential. Does have a high injury risk, which was a little concerning, but he is actually who I would go on and go to pick, because you don't find 6'5" left-handers who can throw nearly 100 miles an hour very often. And the other guy I was definitely considering there was Mitch Callaway, so we'll be picking at number 20 now, Ronald Santiago. Definitely a guy I was considering, a right fielder with some good speed. He's also an 18-year-old. I was looking for a lot of good young talent. Adrian Marquez, a utility guy who could play a number of different positions, nice speed. He looks to be a solid hitter, especially with contact, and can develop into a nice guy, especially at 19, a switch hitter, so a very versatile player, and he is who we would end up picking. And then with our next pick, Mitch Callaway, who I'd considered picking in the third or even second round, is still here, which was awesome to see. And a little spoiler, that's who we would go on and pick. He's a right-handed pitcher from the University of Florida, a college guy. And with our 5th round pick or 6th round pick, I can't remember, we were looking still at pitchers, trying to get some good pitchers for our system. We basically have none right now, unless we acquire some in the trade deadline. So I look at some of the different guys I was looking at. There was a ton of different prospects here. None that I was really all too high on, but definitely some different guys. And I would end up going with Howard Jensick, I guess is how you would pronounce his name. He's a relief pitcher and looks to be a solid player. And then with our final pick, there was only one guy left, a left-hander 5'11" out of Vermont. And he is a 50 potential, 50 overall. So maybe if he develops a little bit, he might end up being something, but probably not much. Now looking at Herbert Keane, 99 velocity. That was awesome to see. And then 99 potential for Eli Wendell. And our second round pick, that was awesome. Jason Jones, good velocity as a 6'5", 18-year-old left-hander. That was also good to see. Good contact for Adrian Marquez. Good clutch, good durability. Then Mitch Callaway, the college pitcher, looks to be all right, not too great. Howard Jensick could be a nice reliever out of the bullpen if he's able to get his control in order. So now we'll sim up until the trade deadline. We'll also be doing that in this episode. You can see some of the different injuries. Just a ton of injuries for this team on these couple of weeks. None of them too big and none of them keeping anyone out for too long. Brendan Ryan goes out for 3 to 4 weeks, but he's with our AAA affiliate right now. And we are 31-40 at this moment. So not the greatest year, but we are coming up on the trade deadline, as we also have a trade offer from the Red Sox. They're giving us Josh Rutledge for Giovanni Soto. Rutledge, not a guy I was really considering getting him. I mean, he's 26, so he could have been a nice piece, but I would end up declining that trade. And here's our first trade of the trade deadline. It will be for Ash Russell, Evan Beal, and a catcher who is a great power guy for Johnny Giavotella, and a starting pitcher. So Ash Russell looks to be a very solid pitcher. He's 18 years old. Evan Beal, a 6'5" right-hander who will be coming out of the bullpen, looks to be very talented. And like I said, look at this guy, Chase Valle. He's a guy that's definitely was a throw-in of some sorts into the trade to make it a little even in that bar. But he looks to be a very good guy. If he could hit well in the minors and maybe get his potential up a little bit, he could be a great middle-of-the-order guy as a catcher for us, especially if he could get his fielding up a little bit, or even a DH if he can't get that fielding up. Now we've reached the All-Star break. Mike Trout will represent us in the Home Run Derby. The All-Stars are here for the AL. Drew Storen is a closer. Dionaro Navarro is a catcher. Miguel Cabrera, of course, at first base. And then we would end up only having one All-Star, and that would be Mike Trout. He's having a great year, 24 home runs at the halfway point of the season. But our record is actually starting to go up. We're above 500 for the first time in a very long time. Now 49 and 48, it'll be a big decision on how the last week of this season finishes, and we reached the trade deadline going 1-7 in our last however many games in that last week. So we would go ahead and start the fire sale. Yunel Escobar is going to be traded to the Milwaukee Brewers for Monte Harrison. He's a great athlete, a center fielder, and also Devin Williams, a 21-year-old right-hander, 6'3", so a nice frame, could definitely fill into it, and also has good velocity coming over. We would also trade Houston Street to the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks are right now a game and a half, I believe, behind the Dodgers in the NL West, and they have a very good record. And so in this trade, we'll be picking up Jose Martinez, a 6'1" right-hander, another young pitching prospect. That's something that I was definitely going after. Now, Evan Marzilli, a guy with some nice speed, a little underrepresented in this game, and also picking up a very solid reliever who could see some MLB action either this year or start out in the pen next year. Now, with our next trade, we'll be trading one of our relievers for Lucas Sims and Austin Riley, so two of the Braves' better prospects, and also trading a starting pitcher to them. Now, with the Cubs, we'll be getting Dylan Cease, a 20-year-old right-hander, a lot of pitching prospects. That was something that I definitely wanted to get, and we'll be trading Hector Santiago and Joe Smith, also getting CJ Edwards, a solid reliever, and Eloy Jimenez, who is a left fielder, only 19 years old, came over from, I believe, the Dominican Republic. Is a 19-year-old, 6'4", definitely has a lot of room to grow into his build, and could be a very solid hitter for us at some point. A lot of those prospects, though, are pretty far away from the majors, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. I feel like we got a good amount of potential guys just to be able to get that for the players that we're actually trading away. We had to get people who were farther away from the majors, but I think we got a ton of good prospects and also really refilled our farm system and actually have a good number of prospects. None of them you're like a potential superstar type guys unless they really perform like crazy in the minors, and get to that. But we at least have prospects. Now, coming to this, we maybe had one or two prospects, or maybe three at the most, and we added all of those guys who will definitely be, hopefully, future parts of this team. I look at some of the season stats, though, as a few of our starting pitchers are playing very well. Johnny J. Votella actually second in the AL in terms of average. Mike Trout second in the AL in home runs. He is having an amazing year, on pace to break his current career high in home runs, and also near his average and batting average also. And look at some of the pitching stats. Felix Hernandez is pitching so well. Andrew Heaney is having a good year for us. Just a bunch of different players who are playing very well. Matt Latos is actually pitching well. But another guy that I had wanted to trade at the trade deadline was Giovanni Soto, but he actually tore his shoulder and is out for a couple of months, so we weren't able to actually trade him away. But if you saw, Mike Trout has around a 6, close to 7 WAR, and depending on what you want to think about how accurate a stat that is, that's up to you. But he is blowing away every other position player in the AL. Now a look at our updated bullpen and lineup. You can see CJ Edwards is now going to be in the Major League staff. The starting pitchers for the most part stay the same, as now Jared Weaver will be our 5th starter, and his 83-mile-an-hour fastball. A look at our lineup. Daniel Nava will now be leading off, I guess. Not so sure about that. Might have to adjust that a little bit. But a look at the MVP award. This was pretty cool to me. We're not having a very good year. At best, we're around 500. We're actually a good bit below that now. But Mike Trout is actually number 2 in the MVP race, which was awesome to see. Now we'll just go ahead and recap all of the prospects that we now have in our system. A lot of B and high C potentials, and just a ton of young guys who could just develop into nice pieces. Even like some of the lesser guys we got, like Evan Beal, I feel like could be definitely a good piece moving forward. A recap of our draft picks. And I hope you did enjoy today's video. If you did, please leave a like down below. Leave your comments on our draft and the trades we made, and who are you most excited for in terms of the prospects that we got. I will see you for episode 5, which will be another game. I hope you did enjoy, 'cause I'm out.